Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Megan Belisai. I am a college student currently studying abroad here in London, as you can see on my wall. And I went to Italy for spring break with some friends. So I'm gonna be giving you all some recommendations on some food places that you should go to if you're visiting Italy anytime soon. On my trip with friends, we went to Venice and then Florence and then Rome, and we stayed in each place for like 2.5 days, I would say. So I just picked out some of my favorites because we ate at some really good places and we ate at some not so good places. And that just has to do with us like planning for some places and just kind of going on the fly for some others. And we did find some touristy trap things, so I'm gonna help you avoid some of those. Since we started in Venice, let's go ahead and start with Venice. My first recommendation is not to get any of the cannolis if you go to Venice. They're super tourist trappy, they're really bad. We tried a bunch of different cannolis in every single location we went to in Italy, and those were just not it. They are not the Italian traditional cannolis, so don't waste your money on those. But the first great place that we went to in Italy is called, please forgive me if I butcher any of the pronunciations of any of these restaurants, but I will type the name out here so that way you can just put it into your city mapper. I think it's pronounced Le Archivio, but it is a place for cicchetti, which is something that is super popular in Venice. It's basically little pieces of bread with things that you would have on like a cheese board. So cheese, fruit, meats, anything like that, all on a little piece of bread. And they are so, so delicious. I loved this spot because it was a nice place to sit and relax if you wanted to grab a glass of wine, and the atmosphere was nice. They had a lot of great options if you wanted to try a few different kinds of cicchetti. You would normally get one piece of one kind and then another piece of another. And so you get to try a bunch of different things. And it's great because you can either fill up on them and just eat those for lunch, or they're a great snack while you're walking around the city. The next place that I really liked, I found on TikTok. It was called Restaurante Simone. I believe that's how it's pronounced. This place was really great. It had a really nice atmosphere and it was right on the river, so it was like a beautiful atmosphere to see boats rowing by, very romantic. I will say this one might be a little touristy because they had Alfredo on the menu, which is not an Italian thing. I think that's kind of just more so serving to the American audience of people that they know are visiting, so kind of take that with a grain of salt. But the food was all delicious. I had a group of I think there were 11 or 12 of us there at that point, and all of us had enjoyed every single meal that we had gotten. So I can definitely confidently say that this place was really delicious. Next place I really loved was called Suso, and this was for gelato. Gelato in Italy is so much different than gelato in the States. It tastes so much better in Italy. I had no idea what I was missing until I got there. It was absolutely delicious. I don't know that this is the most authentic Italian gelato that you'll ever find, but most of Venice is really touristy. So just know that when you go there, you're not getting really authentic Italian as you would maybe in Florence or Rome. It really is a tourist trap city. Still amazing to do, still amazing to experience. Just know that before you go. And last but not least, this was one of our personal favorites. It was called Damachelle or Damachelle. And this was actually right outside of Venice where me and my friends were staying. So you would just take the train right over, and I think it's only like a 10-minute train ride. That's what we had taken every day. And they're very cheap. I think it was only a few euro to take the train. This place was so good that we went back 2 nights in a row because it was one close to our hostel and it was just so delicious. Once again, everything that everyone got, they all loved, and it was just such great Italian food. And because it was right outside of the city, it had a lot better portions for your price because it wasn't in Venice itself. So that's also something to think about. Okay, now let's move on to Florence. The first night in Florence, we went to this pizza place that we saw recommended online, and it was called Gusta Pizza. It was amazing. Probably the best pizza I've ever had in my life. So good. Once again, a massive group of people and everyone loved everything that they ordered. This pizza was so good. The only thing I will say is that unless you have a reservation, the line gets really long. We came 30 minutes in advance just to stand in line. There was already a pretty significant line, and then behind us, as it got closer and closer to opening, did grow longer and longer. So people do wait for quite a long time, but it's worth it. So either get there early to wait before they open, or make a reservation online so that way you're all set to go. Next up for some good sandwiches, if you're just walking around and you want some lunch. This was a place that we saw on TikTok. I think that people who are native to Florence might have other suggestions for some more authentic ones or some that are not as touristy, but this one was still delicious, so I'm gonna put it on the list anyways. Alantio Viano. They had great sandwiches. They were really nice inside while they were making the sandwiches, and it was really cool because you got to see it done right in front of you. Once again, the line can be a little long because it's pretty popular, but they go by really quickly, and it's worth it to stop and get something for lunch because right in that area, you have some really pretty things to see that you can sit and just like observe the beauty of Florence while you're eating this sandwich. My favorite place was a suggestion from some of our friends that studied abroad last year. They had eaten at this place and they recommended it to us, and I'm gonna recommend it to you because it was that good. It's called Tratoria ZaZa, and the atmosphere is amazing. The price is very reasonable, and the food was absolutely delicious. I'm a sweet wine girl, so I went and got some Moscato that night for dinner, and my goodness, it was delicious with my dinner. I have to say, I did get some Florentine steak there because that's, you know, you're in Florence and you have to do it, and it was very good. The one thing I will say that I heard from a friend that was there and someone who was outside before we came in is that they typically recommend I think it's their mushroom ravioli or something like that, and it just is not very good. So if you go, don't get the mushroom ravioli, but so far from my experience, from everybody that went, everything else seems to be very good. So highly recommend. And last but not least for Florence is our favorite cannoli of the entire trip. When I say that we tried cannolis at every single place, like we would see a place on the way that had a cannoli and we stopped in and we would try it because we just wanted to find the best one in Italy. And this was, from our experience, the best cannoli in Italy. It was at Pompi Firenze, which was so good. It was just a little corner coffee shop, which had gelato and different desserts, and they could make affogatos and things like that, which was another delicious treat that you should definitely try. It's gelato and espresso, so it's basically like a coffee. It's so good. So definitely try an affogato. But yes, the cannoli was the best from there. It was the best tasting, the best consistency. Like it had the real ricotta cheese in it, which some places didn't for some reason. You should definitely stop in and get one. Okay, and last but not least, let's move on to Rome. We went to La Tavernetta 29. In that area, you have a lot of really great restaurants. We couldn't get into some of them because we didn't have reservations. That's on us for being college kids who were a little unprepared. But in that area, they have really amazing food. It's a little far out from where some of the more touristy things are in Rome, but it's totally worth making a little trip out over there to eat your dinner. It's so good. My friends got the penne alla vodka and said it was the best penne alla vodka they had ever had in their lives, and were dreaming about it for the next few days after the trip. I had the chicken parm and it was delicious, and the atmosphere is beautiful and everyone was super nice. It was a great restaurant. Totally recommend that one. The next place I loved in Italy was definitely the tiramisu place called Two Sizes. This had very affordable tiramisu. It was €2.50 for the small and €3.50 for the big, and you could take it with you if you wanted, or you could just eat out on the street right there. There's no seating inside. The line can get a little bit long, but it goes really fast, so no worries. But this tiramisu was unbelievably good, so delicious. We got it multiple times on the trip. We made sure we went back because it was just that good. I dream of her. She was delicious. Also, everything was 100% homemade there. Like, it was just so authentic, so delicious. And everyone working there was super nice, so that's always a plus. The last place was Vecchia Roma. This was a really great dinner place. I loved this meal. I don't remember what it's called, but I got this really great, it was like an egg-shaped appetizer, and it was so delicious. And then I had this really great carbonara, but it had fried artichokes on it, and it was just, I still am dreaming about it. It was delicious. I have to say the only way we got into this place was because we came at just the right time and they had some outdoor seating available, because if we hadn't gotten there when we did, we would not have been able to be seated because their reservations were already completely booked up. And we went on the off season because it was spring break. So if you're going during the summer, make sure for all of these places you try and book way in advance so that way you definitely get a seat, especially if you're in a larger group. As I said, we didn't get to try every place that we wanted to in Italy because we were only in each spot for about 2.5 days, but I have to say, out of the things that I was able to recommend to you all on this list, they were very delicious spots, very authentic or nice atmospheres, and I thought that they are something that I would want to share or that I would take my family back to when I visit Italy again. If this was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up and give me a follow for more travel and vlog content, and please let me know what kind of videos you want to see next. Thanks so much. Bye.